different perspective from Jeff, and more towards data science. And here I want to share my experience of teaching analytics to business audience, specifically from problem solving to problem discovery. Okay. All right. Now, let me start with the question. What is missing from the operations research, management science, and supply chain management curriculums? I'm sure everybody has different answers to this, but after many years of teaching, what I find out is these curriculums really teach mostly about problem solving, right? Because operations research, which is the root of all these curriculums, right, is the science of better, right? But where are the problems and how to discover them? Right? These questions are really about problem discoveries, right? They are equally important, if not more, but they're hardly covered or completely missing from our curriculum. Okay, so let me give a familiar example. So inventory management, which is a hot topic in almost every supply chain management, in every related curriculums. Right? How would you teach inventory management? Now, I learned from my colleagues, also myself. Right? I used to do what EOQ models, right? New spoil models and RQ models. So what are these? These are the solutions, right, to inventory problems, right? So they are the hammers. But these models, in my view, right, will make no sense to the students unless the following question is answered, which is, do I really have an inventory problem? Okay, so these are the nails, right? And this question actually can be broken down into three sub-questions. The first is inventory important to me or to my company? Now, inventory may not be important to every company or every industry. For example, for the financial firms and software companies, right? They carry very little inventories. Right. The second question is, right? How does inventory impact finance? Right. We improve inventory, right, not just for the purpose of inventory, but to get a better financial outcome. Right. That is the ultimate objective. And thirdly, right? Do I have room for improvement? Now, this question is also critical because I may be already at the optimal, right? So there's little room for further improvements, right? It turns out to answer these questions, analytics, data analytics is essential. So let me share some slides that we use to teach to answer these questions. First question, right? Let me just give an example. Comparing United States versus China. Right, just for example, right? To answer the question, is inventory important to me? Right now, as you may already know, right? For United States, retailing, right? Inventory is mostly important to the retailing industry. Where the median is 31% of the assets is in inventory, and or equivalently about 85 days. Now, if you didn't look at the data, you will never be able to guess what is the most inventory-heavy industry in China. Anybody would take a guess? All right, just tell you. Real estate. So inventory is most important, right, to real estate in China because the median is 39% of their assets is tied up in inventory, or equivalently about 1,400 days of inventories, which is a disaster. Now these two countries also share some similarities, right? For example, inventory is important to both countries, right, in their food and stable retailing and consumer durables and apparel. Okay, now data analytics can also provide a more comprehensive information, right? For example, rather than just the medians, right? We just look at the median, right? For United States in the year 2018, we see that retailing has 31% of inventories in total assets, right? But the worst case, which is the 90th percentile, you see here, right? 90th percentile, which is about 53%, which is a lot, right? More than half of the assets in inventory. But if you look carefully, you'll find out one other industry actually has even worse performance, which is consumer durables and apparel, right? Although the median is smaller, which is 24%, the 90th percentile is 76%, right? That is also a disaster, right? So it's a lot of inventories, right? So what I want to show you, the point is, right, the data analytics can show you a complete picture, right, quantitatively. Now let's answer the second question, right? Does inventory impact finance? This actually is a very interesting question. There has been a literature on this, but you have to keep track of the most recent data, right, to see what's happening recently. So let's give an example of U.S. retailing, specifically the S&P 500 companies. And you can see that you plot out the data, right? Even the turnover versus the sales general administrative cost over total revenue. You'll see that as the inventory turnover increases, right, for all these years from 2016 to 2018, right, the sales general administrative cost over total revenue, right, decreases, right, at almost the same slope, right? The trend is very consistent. So which implies that inventory does have an impact, right, on the operating cost for these companies. Now, however, be careful, right? So the same may not be said to other industries or other countries, right? So it's we have to look at the data, right? So it's country, the trend, the relationship is country and industry specific. Okay, finally, let's come to the third question, right? Let's just give an example. Again, U.S. retailing, right? To find out, do I have a room for improvement? Right, to answer this question, we have to use some benchmark study, right? So essentially, we plot out the inventory dates of these companies, right, together, and we find out that the median is Gap or Dollar Tree with about 80 days of inventories in year 2018. Right, Amazon is doing the best, which is about 40 days. Amazing record. On the other hand, if you look at Macy's, which is down here at the bottom, has more than 120 days of inventory. So relatively speaking, right, Macy's has much more room for improvement in inventory than Amazon, right? Okay, I want to show you a few more that will be done. Okay, now you can, of course, look at a more global picture, not only retailing, but also other industries. You'll see many interesting stuff, right? Retailing is here, right? The median is about 80 days, right? But the best performance is about 56 days. And the worst performer is about 285 days, which is 5 times of the 10th percentile, right? So you can see that even in the same industry, same country, right, the companies have widely different performance, right? Now, this is not the most dramatic ones. If you check, let's say, consumer durables and apparel, right, you will see that the 10th percentile, the best cases, right, that is about 60 days, but the worst case is about almost 340 days. It's almost a year. And if you look at pharmaceuticals, right, it's more than 1 year. So if you don't look at the data, if you look at the data, right, you'll be surprised, right, to see the wide gap in performance, right, for companies even in the same industry and countries. Okay, let me just summarize, right? So problem discovery, right, is equally important as problem solving, if not more, right? But it's hardly covered or missing or completely missing from our curriculum, right? That's the bad news. The good news is data analytics actually provides a great opportunity to expand our curriculum, right? To enrich and expand our curriculum from problem solving to problem discovery, right? Plus, executives really like it, really love it because it is really what they do, right? So the executives were not actually solve the problems themselves. Mostly, they were just right directing or determining the directions, right, of the company or determine the goals of the company, which is essentially discover and prioritize problems, right? Problem discovery also make a lot of sense to business audience, And finally, I find it's insightful and fun to teach.